All right, let's talk about something that sounds kind of dry, but is actually super important. We're not just looking at another corporate document here. Nope. Think of this as a survival guide, a playbook for when everything, and I mean everything, goes wrong. Today, we're going to break down something called the business impact analysis. So, just for a second, picture this. What happens if everything just stops working? I'm talking about the absolute worst case scenario for your business. 1 minute, everything is fine, and the next, boom, the power grids fail, the lights go out, all the servers spin down, and that familiar hum of the office, it's just gone, replaced by silence. Then it gets worse. Your supply chains completely snap. Deliveries? They've stopped. Those raw materials you need? Can't get them. The entire flow of goods and services just grinds to a halt. And to top it all off, communication goes dark. Phones are dead, the internet is down. Suddenly, you're completely cut off from your teams, your suppliers, your customers, everyone. You know, this isn't just some movie plot. This is a potential reality that every single business needs to be ready for. So when things go wrong like this, when you're right in the middle of all that chaos, there's really only one question that matters more than anything else. In a crisis, every single organization faces this critical question. What do we save first, right? Because you can't fix everything at once. Your resources are stretched thin, time is ticking, so where do you even begin? How on earth do you choose what to focus on when every single choice feels like life or death for the business?
Well, here's the secret. The answer is you don't make that choice during the crisis. No way. You make it long before it ever happens. You do it by building a solid corporate survival plan. And the main tool you use to build that plan? That's the business impact analysis.
So, what exactly is a business impact analysis, or BIA? Well, the official definition calls it the process of analyzing business activities and the effect that a disruption might have upon them. Okay, that's a bit of a mouthful. Let's put it in simple terms. It's basically a systematic way of figuring out what parts of your business are the most important.
And this is absolutely crucial. A direct quote from business continuity policy says resilience requirements and recovery objectives must be defined from a business impact analysis. What does it mean? It means the BIA is the starting point. It's step one. You can't even begin to plan a recovery if you don't know what's essential. It is the foundation for everything else you're going to do.
Here's a great way to think about it. It's like a fire drill, but for the entire business. You know how a fire drill tells you all the escape routes and where to meet up before there's an actual fire? Well, a BIA does the same thing. It tells you which business functions to rescue first, long before any disaster even thinks about striking.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do you actually go about conducting one of these? How do you design this fire drill for your business? Well, it really boils down to a 3-step process. Pretty straightforward, actually. Step 1, gather intel. Step 2, analyze the impact. And step 3, make the plan. First, you gather intelligence on every single part of the business. Then, you figure out the potential impact if any of those parts were to fail. And finally, you use all that analysis to build a prioritized recovery plan.
Now, that first step, gathering intel, it involves asking some really tough questions. You've got to identify your key business functions, like what do we actually do? You need to map out all your technology dependencies. You have to understand your supplier and customer links. Who can we not live without? And you even have to pinpoint vulnerable periods. Like, are we extra fragile at the end of the financial quarter? So once you've got all that data, all that intel, you get to the most crucial step of all. And that's ranking the chaos. You have to turn all this information into a real, actionable strategy. But with so many moving parts, how in the world do you prioritize what to recover first? I mean, you've got all these different departments, processes, technologies. How do you choose? The answer, believe it or not, comes down to a single, really powerful metric. It's called the Recovery Time Objective, or RTO for short. Here's what it is. For every single business function, you define the absolute maximum amount of time it can be down before the consequences become, well, unacceptable. Before the business starts taking a major hit, whether that's financial, reputational, or just operational damage. And here's how that works in practice. Take a look at this table. It's from a real corporate guideline. It categorizes everything by RTO. So if a function has an RTO of 0 to 8 hours, it's labeled critical.
If it's something that can wait more than 30 days, it's low priority. This isn't just guesswork, you see. It's all about making data-driven decisions.
This comparison here makes it crystal clear. Let's say you're a power company. The systems that control the actual power grid, that's a critical function, with an RTO of 0 to 8 hours. Obviously, it needs to be back online in hours, maybe even minutes. Now, what about the monthly office newsletter? It's nice, good for morale, sure, but it's a low priority function. The business can absolutely survive without it for over 30 days. The RTO forces you to make these tough but totally logical distinctions. So you start to see that a BAA is about so much more than just having a disaster plan tucked away in a binder somewhere. It's really about building corporate resilience. It's about building this core capability right into your organization's DNA. And when we say resilience, what we mean is the ability of an organization to not just resist failure, but to recover in a timely manner. It's about being able to take a hit, absorb it, bounce back quickly, and just keep functioning. The BIA is the tool that lets you identify your weaknesses so you can build up your strength before it ever gets tested. And if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. A BIA transforms a company's response from reactive panic to a proactive, strategic plan. You literally move from making desperate guesses in the dark to executing a cool, well-rehearsed plan. So in the end, it really all comes down to one simple question. When the unexpected happens, and trust me, it will you have a plan or will you just have a problem? Because when that day comes, the difference between those two things, well, that could be everything.